Good morning, afternoon or evening. How are you guys? I'm really happy to be here and to share my own knowledge on statistics. Have you ever heard some special devices which can make our speech and writing more colorful, intriguing? Interesting, isn't it? Yes, in linguistics we have special devices which can make our speech and writing more colorful, intriguing. So, you know what? For example, in order to make our food more delicious and tastier, we have to add some special spices like pepper or salt. In linguistics, in the stylistic sphere, we have this sort of devices. They can be called like stylistic devices. What are they? Stylistic devices. From the linguistics point of view, stylistic devices are a set of techniques to create our writing and speech additional and supplemental meaning, emotion, feeling, and idea. Interesting, yes? So, we have lots of stylistic devices in linguistics, but today we are going to speak several of them. You know what? The main aim or objective of stylistic device is to create imagery and emphasis view of our speaking and writing, to grab the students or to grab listeners' attention. So, what are they? Let's get started then. The first one is metaphor. Metaphor, have you ever heard about it? I hope that you will use your everyday speech this type of stylistic device, metaphor, but without realizing it. For example, you may say that, my friend is a couch potato. Couch potato. Actually, your friend isn't a potato, but we have this sort of idiom to means lazy person. So, for example, in literature also, the metaphor is used a lot, especially in William Shakespeare's masterpieces. You know what? In Romeo and Juliet, the famous stylistic device, metaphor is used. It's like Juliet is the sun. We know that Juliet is not literally the sun, but Romeo compares Juliet the sun. Why? Because both sun and Juliet shines brightly in his eyes. In Romeo's eyes. So this metaphor puts an image of listeners or readers that Juliet is very unique for Romeo. We have also the next examples like Aziza got out of the car with army of children. Can you imagine the army of children? So, but no, Aziza literally didn't have any army of children, but she had lots of children getting out of the car. You know what? If you think you are like black sheep, or you get cold feet, or you think that the love is a highway, you are probably thinking metaphorically, because you are speaking metaphorically. Unless you can be a sheep, or you are dipping your toes in ice water, or love is a very huge highway. Yes? So, you know what, during our conversations, we a lot use this metaphor, this type of stylistic device, a lot. So, if someone says you that I am speaking metaphorically, don't take it as real. Like, it has totally different meaning from the literary word meaning in the dictionary. So, next type of stylistic device can be simile. Simile. You know what? Simile is also a figure of speech which can compare two things directly using like and as. So now we have a question. What is the difference between metaphor and like simile? Yes? In metaphor, we also compare two unlike things which can share a common characteristic. But in simile also we can compare two things. But in simile we must use like and as. For example, look, when donuts finally arrived, my father popped up his head like a piece of toast. A piece of toast, can you imagine? When the toast is finally ready, the toaster shoots up quickly, a piece of toast. So the speaker is comparing his father like a toast of peas which is shooting up quickly from his seat. So It's very interesting, yes, but we have in the simile we have to use like and as. So if you have a clear idea about metaphor and simile, next let's move the next type of stylistic device. It's called like personification. What is personification first? The personification is a figure of speech to give inanimate objects human beings features and characteristics. For example, let's take this example. The sun is smiling at us. Look, you are walking with your son or with your daughter or with your cousins in the street, and the sun is so shining brightly. You may say, look, my darling son, or look, my darling daughter. The sun is smiling at you. How lucky you are today. So you see, the sun literally doesn't smile, or the sun literally doesn't smile at us. But to make our speech more colorful, more emotive, and more stylistic, we are using the personification. Or the opportunity was knocking at her door. What does it mean? Can opportunity knock the door like human being? Or does opportunity have fingers to knock the door? No, it doesn't literally have any hands or any fingers, or it cannot knock the door. But it means by using the sentence, we are putting the emphasis on that the opportunity is on her door, so it is seemingly unavoidable because she or he has to use the opportunity. Or next can be the personification that we have very famous saying that the spring came in our country. Spring came in our country. How could spring come in our country? Stepping with her foot, yes, or with her feet. Now we are giving the features of human being or ability to walk to spring. So it is now personification. It's a type of personification. Next one is like hyperbole. Have you ever heard, or some of your friends may say, I haven't seen you for ages. For ages, look. Or your friends has to leave 300 or 400 to say this sentence. So, but now the 4 ages is hyperbole. What does it mean? The hyperbole. Hyperbole is an exaggeration that is not meant to taken seriously. You shouldn't take it seriously when hyperbole is spoken to you. For example, teachers may say to our students that I've told you a million times. Why didn't you bring your paper to me to submit for midterm or your independent work? So you may hear this sentence a lot. So by telling these sentences, we teachers don't mean that we told you a million times. No, it means that we are putting emphasis that I've told you repeatedly. I've told you every day. I've told you a lot. So we can use this sentence like hyperbole. In our speech, we also use this type of stylistic device a lot. In literature also, in writing, in prose, we use a lot. Like, it felt to me like I walked a million 100 miles. Literally, we couldn't walk in 1,100,000 miles. So this is the type of hyperbole. So next type of stylistic devices can be oxymoron. Oxymoron. What is oxymoron first? The oxymoron places 2 contradictory terms next to each other in a word and in a phrase. Contradictory idioms. What is the main aim of using oxymoron in our speech or in our writing or in literature? So the main aim of oxymoron is just used to make our certain word combinations more thought-provoking to stand out. Thought-provoking to stand out. So what examples can be example for the oxymoron? You know what? In our speech in Uzbek language, we have also used this oxymoron a lot. Yes. For example, in Uzbek we can say "Dahshat chiroyli." It means that Dahshat chiroyli is it has two contradictory terms, dahshat chiroyli, or terribly beautiful, it can be in English. Look, terrible and beautiful. Two contradictory verbs, two contradictory adjectives are coming to each other and creating thought-provoking meaning of a word combinations. Or bittersweet, yes? Same difference. How? Same and difference. We have same differences, you know, my friend, we can use. Or terribly good. Oh my God, your English is terribly good. Terribly good. Bittersweet. Bitter and sweet. Bitter is something that we can enjoy. I mean, we cannot enjoy, and sweet is like candies or chocolates. You see? Pepper and sweet. It means you are eating pepper and chocolate together in linguistics point of view. So this is oxymoron, is a two contradictory terms can come next to each other to create thought-provoking meaning of our speech. So oxymoron. Next type of stylistic device can be metonymy. Metonymy. Look, we have metonymy. What is metonymy first? The metonymy is like a use of linked term to stand in for an object or concept. Metonymy, yes? Metonymy. You may say like crown. For example, we have crown, you know? Crown is an object that king or queen can wear. We can say, we are looking forward to see our crowns. Crowns. Crowns doesn't literally mean the crown itself, but there it means the king or queen or White House. You know what? In America, yes, the official parliament is called like White House. The American people or the foreign people can say that White House has just announced very special announcement. How? Look, how White House, the building, can just can announce the very special document. Yes, it's like the White House can be linked to the people in there. Yes, for example, let's take some examples from Uzbek language too, because it may be more understandable for you as far as it is theoretical English language. Yes. So, for example, in Uzbek language, we also say Navoiyni oldim qo'limga. How can you just hold the very famous poet Navoiy in your hands? It doesn't literally mean a Navoiy, but it means Navoiy's book. For example, Hayratul Abrar or Sadei Sayyar. This sort of books you just hold in your hands. Or 95 choy bera olasizmi? How? 95 choy. It's like 95 tea. It doesn't literally mean 95 choy, but it means the type of tea which you can drink. You see, in both English language and Uzbek language, we have lots of examples to this metonymy. In literature too. In literature also we have lots of, not only in literature, but prose or writing in our speech. We every day use this sort of stylistic devices without realizing it. Now you can know the names of it. Okay, if we move to the next stylistic devices, I mean the last stylistic devices, is like the scenic talk. Scenic talk. What is a scenic talk itself? Scenic talk is a figure of speech which we can use to, a part of something can be used to refer a whole of something, yes? And most commonly, So how? For example, look, the captain commands 100 sails. 100 sails. There is, the word sail is considered to be a scenic talk. Why? Because you know, the ship is a whole thing and sail is a part of the ship because ship can sail. You see? So this is scenic talk. It's like part is referring to the whole. And what else? And the next less common type of scenic talk is the whole can refer a part. Whole can refer a part. For example, mortals, yes? Mortals. Mortals are technically considered to be all the things which can die, like animals or plants and human beings too. So we can say that we human beings are mortals. You see, mortals. We are just a part of mortals, but now we are saying the whole of it. It means that mortal is a whole and human being is a part. Now, a whole is referring a part. So it's very interesting, yes? Now, some people and some linguists, maybe some students, some of my students may have real difficulty in understanding the metonymy and synecdoche because it looks similar to each other, you see? Because in both stylistic devices, we have to link two terms or two objects or two animals to each other, yes? So here is the difference. From the linguistics point of view, synecdoche and metonymy is totally different thing, but in some cases, the synecdoche can be a part of metonymy. Look, in synecdoche, you have to compare whole to part and part to whole. Whole to part and part to whole. For example, let's take some examples from Uzbek language, yes? In Uzbek language, we often say that tarnoqqazor. Tarnoqqazor. Here, the finger is referring to whole body of baby, or a boy or son or child, yes? This is synecdoche because the part is referring to whole body of ourselves, yes? Tarnoqqazor. Or I cut my fingers. I cut my hand, or qo'limni kesib oldim in Uzbek language. I mean, I didn't literally cut my hand, but I cut my finger. A tip of my finger maybe, yes? So this is what synecdoche looks like. But in metonymy, we shouldn't have the similar meaning, or we shouldn't have something which is part of the whole, or whole which is whole of the part, yes? For example, the very famous metonymy which is used in literature is the pen is mightier than the sword. The pen is mightier than the sword. There are two metonymies we have in this sentence. The first one is the pen, and next one is a sword. How? The pen means there is like the writing, yes? Writing or speaking. Sword is a type of, the representative of like physical power. It means the speech is stronger than the physical power, yeah? Here, pen doesn't have any association with the with the writing or speaking, and the sword doesn't have any association or is not part of physical power. It is just tool of physical power. You see, even if there is very tiny differences in metonymy and synecdoche, but anyway, from some of the linguists say that it's totally different type of stylistic devices, but while others say that it's a subset of metonymy. I mean, metonymy is a unique stylistic device, and synecdoche is a part of it, like a subset of the metonymy. Okay, next stylistic devices can be irony. Irony. Have you ever heard about it? Irony. Irony is a figure of speech which can create a situation between a contrast between expectation and reality. A contrast between expectation and reality. It means, for example, I have a lesson in one class, and then my colleagues are really complaining about them. They are very bad, or they cannot read very properly, or their knowledge is not very good. But when I come into class, the class is super. So the class is super now. There's a very huge difference between my expectations and reality. So I said that, oh my God, you are very bad, like the students ever in university. I may say, this is not, it doesn't mean really, like it is very different from the expectation and reality. In reality, you are super students in this university. You see, the irony is just used to make our speech more like sarcastic or ironic, yes? Or one of your friends is very like disloyal to you, and instead of saying you are very disloyal to me, you may say you are very loyal to me, my friend. I love you. This is like ironic. I mean, irony can be example for irony stylistic device. So why do we need use this stylistic device, I mean irony, to make our writing more colorful and sarcastic? I mean, in advertising or in literature, in mostly comedy books, the writers most use this type of stylistic device. Next type of stylistic device is like alliteration. Alliteration. Alliteration can be included to a phonetical type of stylistic devices. Why? Because the alliteration is strongly connected to sounds, especially for vowel sounds. Vowels and vowel sounds. What does alliteration mean in literature and in our speech? Alliteration is a type of stylistic device which vowels and vowel sounds can be same in one line or in one sentence. Alliteration is used to make our speech or our writing more catchy and easy to understand. Yes? For example, do you know the tongue twister can, you can, a can, with a can? There, nearly all of the words starts with the vowel vowel C. So, can, you can, a can, with a can. This is a tongue twister for, this tongue twister can be the best example for the alliteration. Alliteration also can be used mostly in prose or songs too. For example, have you heard about the Beatles, the group Beatles? They have the song Let It Be. It's like in this song we can see the very best example for alliteration, like writer's voice of wisdom. Writer's voice of wisdom. There all letters are starting with W. You see, in songs, in our speech and writing, we can use this sort of stylistic devices like alliteration. So next one can be litotes. Litotes are technically as a part of verbal irony stylistic devices. Why? In litotes, we have to use some negative sentences to give the meaning of positive sentences. Yes, for example, it is pouring outside, or it is very icy, or it is snowing very heavily. We can say that it isn't the best day today. It isn't the best day today. You see, it literally means it is very bad day today. Instead of just saying it is very bad day today, we may use it isn't the best day today, it is not the best day today. There is negative sentence, it's used, and then we have also positive adjective, but both can give for us as a negative meaning of our sentences. This is also one type of stylistic devices we can use in our daily speech or in our writing or in literature. The stylistic devices which I have told you about are used most commonly not only in literature, but also in our speaking, in our oral speaking, or like daily conversations, writing, prose. If you want to make your speech or writing more colorful, more intriguing, or if you want to grab this listener's attention or reader's attention in your IELTS essays, or in your speaking, or in your daily conversation, you have to use some stylistic devices. Like if you want to make your food more tasty, of course we have to add some spices, yes? So the stylistic devices are also the most important devices in our speaking. Without using stylistic devices, our speech or our writing may be colorless, boring, monotonous. If you use more stylistic devices in your speech and in your writing, it means you are going to be a very natural speaker in English language, or you are going to achieve your goal. Yes. If, for example, in our Uzbek language too, if we don't use any idioms or slangs or colloquial phrases or some stylistic devices like metaphor, metonymy, synecdoche, our Uzbek speaking will be like boring or not so interested to our listeners or readers. So if you want to be a natural English writer or natural English speaker, please try to use some stylistic devices in your speaking and in your writing. Thank you for your priceless time, and thank you for your very priceless attention. Thank you so much.